Okay, welcome back to Miku Walk Cycle Tutorial Part 2. So last time, we're getting this kind of a weird hitch in the pop, and it makes her look like she's limping. What's causing this is actually a disparity between the height of 6 and 16. So at 6, notice that she comes up like she should, and then she doesn't do that at 16. So to fix this very easily, we just go at 6, we middle mouse over to frame 16, we click the master root control, and then we go to translate Y and we hit key selected. This completely fixes it, and now we're where we want to be. This is where you should be at this point in the animation. Notice that she is walking properly and everything is working correctly. Alright, we're getting that nice bounce and the root control is bouncing the way it should. Alright, now what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to grab this right here and we're going to move this over to here and bring this down. This is going to balance us a little bit better because before she was just a little bit off, and I really want her to be balanced between her legs a little bit nicer. So that's not too bad. Maybe even we can even drag that back a little bit further. Maybe we don't want to get too crazy with it, so maybe like right there is good. And here, and then we'll just bring it up a little bit, and that's not bad. Okay, let's go with that. That's a little bit better in terms of a nice kind of even spacing. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and hit S. And anytime we do a change to 1 or 22, we want to propagate those changes over. So, go ahead and be careful because you don't want to copy the wrong values over. But we're going to go ahead and key select that on all of those. And actually we can hit S because we want everything on 22. So let's go ahead and go to frame 11 and make sure that we propagate all these changes over. So key selected. And then I'm just gonna stick my finger on the screen and move and look. And this needs to be about right here. And that's not too bad. So let's test that out. Okay, that's a little bit nicer. Alright, so you can kind of see the changes that we did. Let's take a look at it right here. And that's a little bit nicer for us there. Okay, so she's a little more balanced now. Now, what we did was we used the translate Z on this to actually create a little bit better sense of falling. But on our final cycle, we want to delete all these keys. So let's go ahead and get rid of this now because we don't really need it. And let's see what that looks like. And that helps us even more because all of the Z information is going to be done, translate Z is going to be done with the master control for animation, or the game engine would actually translate that master to create the character translating forward in space. So we really wanted to just walk in space, you know, in place. Up and down is really the only main movement for the center of gravity. So that is going to complete the first round basics on the legs and the hips and everything, and the spine is working a lot nicer now. So we're going to go and move on to the arms. Alright, we need a lot of work on everything. There's a lot of polishing to do, but we will come back to that at a later point. I may or may not be able to get to that in the video, but I'll get you guys to a pretty decent framework. Okay, so let's go ahead. Yeah, we'll just start on one side first. So let's go ahead and grab all these. And then let's go into our object here. And let's go ahead and delete all of our rotate information. We'll just delete it one by one. Rotate X, Y, Z, delete, and rotate X, Y, Z, delete. All right. And now let's grab all this. Rotate X, Y, Z, rotate X, Y, Z, and rotate X, Y, Z, and delete everything. Delete. Alright. Now the reason we did this is because we had keyed information straight up here, and we don't want that. We want that nice, clean, blank slate so that when we set information, it will keep it in the previous position, which will make things easier for us. Alright. So let's go ahead and start here. Alright, now this is a little bit tricky. When setting this up, you're thinking, okay, we want this leg, this arm should be here, all the way through at this point. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this point here to create our farthest point. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and create the arm pushing forwards, and I'm used to doing this with IK. So maybe right about there. We're going to raise that shoulder up some, rotate it forwards, and also this is coming forward, so we're going to want to try to turn just a little bit there. Okay, and that's going to come down a little bit, of course back, and then the shoulder control is doing similarly. So that's going to rotate a little bit, and you can have a little bit of bend there, and maybe bend a little bit there and there. Okay, that's not too bad there. It's a little bit too far forwards. Maybe let's bring that down to about there, which is not too bad as a starting point. All right, so let's go ahead and do that for our beginning pose. Let's go ahead and hit S to set a keyframe. Let's go to frame 22, hit S, and now let's go to frame 11, and everything goes opposite. So that comes up, and that goes down. That was forwards, now it's back. Let's leave that there so that we don't go too far. And let's try lining that up. Let's try that. So let's key select it on that. And let's bring that down, rotate that back. Sorry if I'm not, saying a lot here. A lot of animation stuff at this point kind of is I'm figuring stuff out as I go. I'm kind of deciding, okay, how do I want this to look? Because it really is dependent upon the look I'm going for. I mean, she has a lot of different attitudes and things that she could be thinking about when she's trying to walk. But, I mean, you just got to think, if this shoulder's coming forwards, obviously you're going to rotate this because, it's the arm that's coming forwards. So, let's kick this a little bit up. Okay, let's see what that looks like. That's not too bad. And now let's go to 1, and let's actually rotate this a little bit more like that. It's more of a guy kind of a thing, but it'll work on a female if you don't push it too far. So let's go to 22, hit S. All right, let's test that out. All right, that's very, very stiff, and we're getting way too much of an arc on this arm here. So, we want to take this and rotate it in down. Have it come maybe about right there. And that's not too bad. Let's go to frame 22, propagate those changes. Okay, so that's the keys doing that. So let's go here to probably translate Y. Or rotate Y. Yep. See how we're getting that weirdness there? Let's go ahead and linearize it. Let's linear everything out, actually. Let's go ahead and see if we can start out linear. Okay, that's a little better there. And we're still getting a little bit of weirdness. this. Let's take a look at this arm. This arm is doing what we want it to do. And this arm, for some reason, is kind of jumping out in space like that. So let's find out why it's doing that. As you can see, animating a walk cycle like any other thing is a lot of troubleshooting and trying to figure out, okay, why are you just kind of coming out like that? And I think it's probably the fact that, you know, it needs to be more there. And maybe even, let's maybe bring that a little more forwards there. Let's see what that looks like. All right. Okay, that's a little better. Let's go ahead and play blast that, just so we can get a sense of what we're doing. So let's play blast it from here first. Let's go into our settings, make sure we're not saving, and we're not. All right, let's just go ahead and play blast that. Okay. All right, we're starting to get somewhere. Now, I'm going to show you guys what I was talking about with the overlapping motion here. So this will be the last little thing we do in the arms, and then we will move on to a little bit more further refining on the spine, and then we'll go back to the legs and do our second pass on the legs. Okay, so we're going to grab this controller here. So this is right here. At frame, let's say 16. 16 would be good. We're going to go ahead and take this and put this here. In fact, no, not at frame 16. Let's do this at frame 13. All right. We're going to put this right here. Okay. And we're going to bend this backwards. All right. And we're going to bend this a little more backwards as well. Now, why are we doing this? Well, look what happens now. Look at the effect that happens. It looks like it's kind of swinging backwards. And then now look like, you see how that kind of shoots into place now? And we can make that even nicer when we go into the graph editor. We can really time that out so that it stays bent backwards a little more longer, and then it kind of shoots forwards at a nicer timing point. And let's go ahead, just to create a little bit of overlapping motion here, let's go to 20, and let's go into our graph editor and find our translate rotate Y. And let's just pull that down a little bit. Actually, let's pull that up a little bit there. There we go. And that's not too bad. Let's see what that did. That's nicer there. So now it kind of stays there longer. Okay, so we did that at frame, I think, 13 there, which is one before the 16. So that's at our low point. So let's do that one. Yes, at frame 13. It starts to come past the low point. So when we hit that low point is about right there. So yeah, frame 3. All right, so we're going to go ahead and push that there, and we're going to bring this forwards a little bit because it should be a little more forwards at this point. All right, so now as we push this forwards, we're going to get some of that nice overlapping motion, which is what I was talking about. All right, there. All right. And we can go ahead and take this and push it backwards some. Let's go to 22, propagate that change over. Let's go to frame 11, propagate that over. And maybe like right there, and not bad. All right, now let's take a look at that. Let's play blast that, and then from there, we will go into our next video. right, we're getting there. A little bit stiff. Arms need a little bit of work, but we have the basic arm motion happening. So, you know, we can go from there. And of course, we have some interpenetration we have to worry about, but fundamentally, that's not too bad for a beginning point. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the video at this point, and then on video 3, we'll do a little bit of arm refining, and we're going to refine that spine and head a little bit more, and maybe a little bit of hips, and then we'll go back to the legs probably in the end, or maybe even video 4.